Welcome to the Software Process and Measurement Cast number 805. I'm Tom Cagley, your host. About the number. Earlier this week, we published a video on what is work intake. That became SPaMCAST 804. So, SPaMCAST 805 features the 9 core principles of work intake are a key backbone of mastering work intake by Jeremy Willets and Cagley by the book. Teams and organizations need to apply these principles to avoid chaos. In the Software Process and Measurement Cast number 805, we illustrate the application of the 9 core principles based on role and organizational hierarchy, beginning with the classic Scrum team roles. We also have a visit from Susan Patente, who brings her Not A Scrumdamentalist column to the podcast. In this installment, we discuss why organizations do projects and their role in society. Nine core principles of work intake, product and team roles, part 1. The 9 core principles of work intake are a key backbone of mastering work intake by Jeremy Willets and Cagley. Teams and organizations need to apply these principles to avoid chaos. As a reminder, the principles are prioritization, control, consistency, frequency, preparation, respect, consequences, ownership, transparency. If you want to go into depth, why don't you start with Jeremy and I's video on the topic? Link in the show notes. These are principles rather than rules or even guidelines because context and where you are in the organization impact how you interact with the principles. There is no magic bullet or single best practice. Let's illustrate how to apply the 9 core principles based on role and organizational hierarchy, using a simplified model of an organization with individuals and teams as the base of the hierarchy, middle management in the middle, and executives at the top. Using this hierarchy, we can look at how several common roles interact with the 9 principles. We've adopted the ARPA framework for analysis of roles. ARPA stands for Accountable, Responsibility, Participant, and Advisor. RACI is another one. This, I think, works better in knowledge work environment. This is the person who is accountable to the business for success. Responsible. The person who's responsible for day-to-day execution, ensuring the work gets done within the scope of the backlog and meets the standards of behavior. Participant. People who do the work. Advisor. People who are consulted. Scrum Master often is in that role as an advisor. Note, the word accountable is being used organizationally. Everyone is accountable for their thoughts and actions. Everyone is accountable for their thoughts and actions. The 9 core principles of work intake are a useful prism to highlight the responsibilities of the common team roles of product owner, Scrum Master, and development team, and it yields the following matrix. The matrix has the 9 core principles down the left-hand column. Across the top are product owner, team member, Scrum Master, or perhaps coach. Prioritization. Product owner is responsible. Team members are participants. The Scrum Master is an advisor. Control. Product owner responsible. Team members participant. Scrum Master advisor. There's a pattern forming. Consistency. Product owner responsible, team members participant, Scrum Master, coach, advisor. Frequency. Product owner responsible, team members participants, Scrum Master and coach, advisor. Preparation. Product owner responsible, team members participant, Scrum Master and coach participant. Respect. respect for the process. Product owner responsible, team members participant, Scrum Master coach participant. Consequences. Product owner responsible, team members participant, Scrum Master / coach advisor. Ownership, responsible, participant, advisor, product owner, team member, coach. Transparency, one of those that it's a little different. Product owner responsible, team members participant, Scrum Master or coach participant. You also notice that there is no accountable. Those that are accountable, again, remember, accountable means here accountable to the business. I think we'll flip up a level as we go forward, and you'll find that accountability really is in the role of a product manager. At the team level, the product owner bears the lion's share of responsibility, the tactical day-to-day responsibility to deliver value by managing work intake. The dev team actively collaborates and participates, while in most cases the Scrum Master advises and facilitates. The clarity of responsibility is important. When responsibility is concentrated, it is far easier to see the big picture. Strategic accountability, obviously, as I said before, lies outside of the team with the product manager role. Where responsibility for the core principles is spread, there are opportunities for implementation and communication problems. Consider a real-life example. The team included 2 product owners. Yeah, I know, it is 2024. A technical product owner, who was the manager of the team, and a business product owner. The team also included a team lead, junior player sort of manager, a Scrum Master, and the development team. There was a constant struggle to define who owned the backlog. They ended up creating actually 2 of them. Over time, no one felt responsible for owning work intake and respecting the process. Chaos ensued. In the next installment, we'll add the product manager role to take us from team-level activities into the realm of middle management. Thoughts, comments, all welcome. Please feel free to reach out to us at spamcastinfo@gmail.com. We look forward to the conversation. Susan Patente, welcome back to the Software Process and Measurement Cast.
Hey, Tom. Good to talk to you again. It's always a fun situation. People probably think we plan well in advance all the things we're going to do and talk about, and I think we're a little bit more agile here, which is really wonderful.
Yeah, sometimes I think I'm a little bit too loosey-goosey, but agile. I'll take that. Dynamic. Everything is context-driven. I think, let's say, context drives a lot of different things. And today's one of those context-driven things. So, Susan, why do teams, projects, and products exist from a company point of view?
That's a great question. As your listeners may know, and I do a lot of contract work. So I actually either working for myself or working for a company, do federal contract work. And so in that regard, we're doing things for our client, but we are also doing things for the company. And most of the federal contract space is about making money. So believe it or not, companies care about making money. There are a lot of companies
they don't care about making everybody happy and all that good stuff.
Well, some companies have a vision of doing something greater, of hopefully the company has a vision beyond just making money. But in the federal contracts, that one's kind of tough. I mean, I do think there are some federal contractors that want to make money, but they want to do so by providing the highest quality product they can to their customers, by being good servant leaders in the federal space, things of that sort. But at the end of the day, they exist to be profitable. And if they didn't, then they couldn't afford to pay you. So unless you work for a volunteer organization, it's probably a good thing that your company makes money because that's how they pay you. Right. So the way I look at it, especially in the federal space, there's a lot of money out there. It's going to go to somebody. And if it goes to me or the company I'm working for, I am going to be a better steward of it than 80 or 90% of other people, because I'm going to treat it as if it were my money. Because, by the way, part of it is taxes we pay. I'm going to treat it like it's my money, and I'm going to be efficient in how it's spent. Because my take is if I'm not part of the solution, then I'm part of the problem. So that's kind of how I look at it. And if it's not in the federal space, if it's in the private sector, the same thing. Somebody's paying me for something. I want to give them more than they would get if they paid somebody else to do that same thing. More, higher quality, better results. That's my goal and aspiration for everything I do. But yes, I do exist. My company of one exists to make money. And that money is used for roof, food, dog treats, all the sorts. So
this is an aside. This is probably not one of those things that people actually need to know. So if we're only talking about need to know stuff, you can jump over about 15, 20 seconds from there. You're a dog owner. Yes?
Yes.
One or two?
Two, a boy and a girl.
If you reached into your pockets right now, what do you have in your pockets?
There's no pockets on my pants currently.
Okay.
But I think you're probably looking for treats would be the.
Well, that would be one thing. I also have
dog bags.
Dog bags.
Yes, dog. Okay, so it would be in my jacket pocket. Yes. So
okay.
That's one place that they show up. But yeah. So yeah, for those of you who are not dog owners, probably don't care about that. But but
it ties back to why you do things, right? As a deliverer of services, whether I'm a company or not, I'm doing that for the dog treats or to be able to have a dog, because obviously, it's very difficult to have a dog if you can't feed it or take it to the vet or those things. For some reason, right? For some reason, lots of firms don't really think there's any public good that they have to worry about. They're just in it for something. And sometimes people on the other side, the deliverer of services, get confused and think that organizations should have the public good. And those are two sometimes conflicting arguments, and it causes consternation. How do you resolve that?
I think that the way a lot of public companies deal with that is that they do market themselves as having the public good in mind. And I think they do that because it will make them more profitable. So I know that's being a little bit cynical, but I think some cynicism is probably appropriate there. So I think the organization that you think is so worried about, different things like the environment and well-being of others may be interested in that because they think if you think they're interested in that they will get more sales. When you're talking about a small business, like a small contract business, that may be more the actuality. Like if somebody talks the talk and walks the walk, then that's probably
it's the actions, right? It's the actions. Yeah. Whether you're big or small, if there are no actions, who the heck cares what you say?
It's just a marketing ploy. So I agree with you. I always look at are the actions consistent? And I've seen contract companies who say, oh, we care about our people. We care about our people. And at the end of the day, people don't get a raise. There's, one of my neighbors, a friend of mine, her husband works for a very, very large bank. And he does cybersecurity work there. During that huge inflationary period, everybody, like in the middle of the summer, not due to like, pay performance review or anything, everybody got a 6% raise across the board, everybody in the organization. Then when their reviews came about, they got another 3, 4, 5%. And I was like, wow, that's a great company. I mean, I knew very few companies that did that. And that to me speaks a lot about how they treat their people, what they care about their people. And so regardless of marketing, that's action. That's action that says a lot. And I think the way you treat your employees is as important, if not more important, than how you treat your customers. And I believe Starbucks says this, that they're very focused on treating their employees well, because if their employees are treated well, they're going to treat their customers well. And I mean, imagine the opposite. You're not treated well as an employee. How are you going to show up for customers? You're just going to be like, like you're not going to be happy. You're not going to feel appreciated. So why would you extend that to other people? So I think it makes a lot of sense. And so for a company to say, we care about our people, but then not take any action consistent with that, is very different.
Well, I think that sets up all sorts of cognitive dissonance. I visit a lot of companies, and you hear a lot of, just a lot of sayings and ideas. I always have a sort of a knee-jerk negative reaction when I hear the phrase, "Our people are our greatest assets." Well, yep. I get a little anxious on the asset side, but even shoving that aside for a second. Okay, prove it. Why am I here to help you with your turnover problem if your people are your greatest assets? I think they've misunderstood what that phrase means. Maybe they put an asset tag on them. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's becoming, it's a little cliche. And the other thing is that saying people are an asset, I agree with that, but it's a little dehumanizing, right? It's actually, like you said, it's like putting a tag on them, like a barcode on them or something. And I mean, I've seen it. Like companies will say, well, we want to know what all your certs are, and we want to know your years of experience with this or that or whatever. Like they're trying to tag me as an asset. Like I know what they're doing. Like they want to put me like in a big database so that when they go to work on something, they say, oh, look, we need some of this. We need this, kind of person off the shelf for this project.
Well, someday we're going to come back to certs, because I would like to assert, not assert, but assert that experience is not the same thing as knowledge. And having a cert might say you have knowledge, but it doesn't mean you have any experience doing something. And there are different kinds. Well, okay, we're not going to go down that path today. But
Yep. No, but that's a great one, and definitely, and anybody listening, tune in for that. We're going to have that conversation. I have too many certs, like that is an assessment. But I teach certs, so that's my excuse. But I think it's a good conversation about what do they mean? What is the value? Is it right for me or not? And so we'll definitely talk about it in the future.
How as a company owner, and in your mind, how do you balance the need to make money and to do good?
Well, for me, it's I do that balance spiritually. I literally, I will, I'll pray and I mean, for me, praying is not just like, hey, asking a question and wanting an answer, but to me, prayer is worship, acknowledgement, gratitude, and then kind of be silent and listen. Also, just on a daily basis, I think it's good to start the day with what am I grateful for. I guess I'm kind of boring in a way, but like the 3 things I'm most grateful for: my husband, my mom who lives close by, and my dogs. And pretty much every day that ends up being that, but a few days that there are other things. But I start with that gratitude, and then look for what is my purpose? What are the things that I should be doing? And I'm very fortunate to be a part of my career where I feel like more and more the things that are my purpose, that my skills serve well, my gifts or my abilities are well matched for. Those are the things that come to me. But that's not magic, meaning like you have to turn things away that are not that, so that you actually get the things that do serve your purpose in a way. And I wouldn't know, don't get caught up in like, what's my purpose? Like it's this one thing. I don't think it's one thing. I have a hat that says wife, mom, boss. And I love it because it's like if it could add daughter, that would be perfect, because it's like I have many purposes. There's not just one. The balancing of those is that's fun and interesting. But I look to see, what are the things that I do that are very easy for me to do, but create a lot of value for other people. One of the examples of that is as a teacher, I'm able to take really complex things and make them simple. I can have a conversation with a student who's struggling and get them connected to not only understanding the material, but knowing how to apply it, helping them figure out their future and how project management can help them be where they want to be professionally. Those are all things I do, and I don't prep for those at all. Like they're just natural things that I do, and I do well. And sometimes your job is not directly your purpose, but it feeds into it. I don't want to be like a professional coach, but I do professional coaching with my students, and I enjoy it in that regard. I just don't see myself as a coach. I feel like that space is very flooded with like, I'll be your coach and da 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 da, and I'm like, oh, another coach. But I do like coaching and mentoring people. And so that shows up a lot. Like people will contact me and say, will you mentor me? Or I could use a mentor. Or I've had people say, you're kind of my mentor. And I didn't even know that, So there's definitely something around teaching that called me. I didn't actually go out looking to be a teacher at all. In fact, I probably said I wasn't a teacher for many years until somebody said to me, like, you teach at like 3 universities. That's like, I know, but like, I'm not like an elementary school teacher. And they're like, no.
Well, I don't know. I've seen graduate level courses before. Maybe you are.
Sometimes it feels like I'm a little bit more of an elementary school teacher, or high school teacher than I want to be. But getting back to organizations and the company perspective. So, we started out as why do teams, projects, and products exist? And, for the most part is for the company to make money. I do think it's good as an individual to have values, principles, visions, purpose beyond just making money. I think that some of the greatest business owners and inventors had a purpose that was far greater than their product. So I think that just focusing on the money and not the vision of what you're providing to somebody or to something, probably not likely to be successful, to be honest with you. I think the most successful businesses had some greater vision. If you look at Steve Jobs, I don't think he said to himself, what am I going to do to be rich? I think he wanted to innovate. And even, I don't know if everybody knows the whole story, but there's a book you can read about it, which is really great. First of all, Steve Jobs was not loved by everybody. So I think that's very interesting that there are a lot of young people who want to be him. I'm like, be careful there, because he was fired from his own company. So be careful what you ask for, right? So, but one of the things he did that was really interesting is he made that device that could hold all your music in like a very small, what now is like the size of my smartphone, which actually maybe was twice the size of my smartphone. But it was small at the time. and then decided, let's go make phones. And people are like, what are you talking about? We'll put ourselves out of business. And he was like, that doesn't matter. If we don't, somebody else will. So like he's willing to put his greatest product out of business to stay innovative. That's gutsy, right? So you can say a lot of things about him, but that's gutsy. Like he wanted to be innovative all the time. Like that's what I saw. And we've benefited as, you know, a
But he also
society. We've
wanted
benefited.
something else too. He wanted to create a company that outlasted him. And I interview a lot of people on the podcast, and this is not always true. Idea, let's create this product or this project or this service. I'll flip it because that's what I'm into it for. I'm here. Let's get it to $9 million. I can get, the right multiplier. Boom. I'm gone. They're in it for the buck. They're not in it for the actual do anything of value for their employees, their stakeholders, other than, get a return on investment.
Yeah. And I'm not sure that that's the secret to success. So let's say you make a ton of money. So what are you going to do? You're going to go sit on a beach, lie in a hammock, drink a Mai Tai, and then what? Right? So I think human beings are desired to contribute to others in some meaningful way. I actually think work is a bad 4-letter word. And what my hope is that everybody find for themselves a way that they contribute to society, that's something that's innately skill or ability or set of skills or abilities they have that is a natural and joyous way that they can contribute to others. And you may think to yourself, well, okay, that's great and creative and whatever, but who's going to clean the toilets? And, there's actually people who like to do cleaning. Like there's people who own cleaning businesses because they like to do it. I'll give you an example. One of my friends was a dental hygienist, and she's like a super neat, clean person. If you've ever met a dental hygienist, I'm pretty sure this is true of all of them. Cleaning your teeth is not the only thing they like cleaning. So like there's just something in them to like everything needs to be straight and clean and organized and whatever. And that's their thing that they're really good at, And so not everybody does everything. My friend is a vice principal at a New York City school. And I said to her the other day, I was like, I work a lot of hours. She goes, she knows I work a lot of hours. I work weekends, I work evenings, all those things. And I said, I do not want to trade places with you. I wouldn't even care if I worked less hours. There's no way that I would ever want to trade places with you. And I know she wouldn't want to trade places with me. And she's great at what she does. And I love that she's great at what she does because more schools need vice principals like my friend. She's capable and compassionate. And that combination is very difficult. But, this is, everybody has something unique to offer. And I don't know if we've gotten off track, Tom, to what your original question is, but I think it isn't just about profit if you're going to be successful.
I actually don't think we're off track. It may feel that way, but I think what we've defined is why do all of those things exist? And in the best view, they're there to create value. And some of that's going to be, it's going to be enough to keep the business afloat. Yeah, I have a background. I have lots of accountants in my family. Obviously, you have to make something and you have to be able to pay the bills and you have to have, money for a rainy day and all of those things, right? But if you're not creating value for the company, the world around you, I don't know that it's a long-term endeavor. Susan, how would people continue the conversation? How would they find out about Susan Patente, who's in Washington? At least that's what LinkedIn says, but is everywhere virtually.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I don't live in DC anymore, but I do most of my work there. I also do some work in the New York area. But yeah, so if you find me on LinkedIn, it's Susan Parente, parent with an E at the end. And you can also email me, parente at S as in Sam, the number 3-tec.com. That's my company, S3 Technologies. And I did just want to say one thing in closing there. When you talk about value, somebody a long time ago said, when they see the word agile, they think of value. And if you can think that way about agile equals value, I think that's an excellent mindset shift that you can have. So thank you for that conversation, Tom.
Learn to tame your work intake beast. Jeremy Willets and I have opened up 2 new workshops, 2 new cohort-based workshops to help you learn to tame the work intake beast. The synchronous version will run from May 31st to June 28th. The asynchronous one, where we have fewer meetings and more videos, will actually begin sooner. The synchronous one is 5 manageable 90-minute chunks. For more details, check out our Maven site, link in the show notes. In Reread Saturday News, Chapter 4, Deep Work is Meaningful, begins Part 2 of Deep Work Rules for Focused Success in a Distracted World by Cal Newport. Part 2 contains Newport's rules and ideas for learning to work deeply. There are several ideas I want to highlight in this chapter. The first, to give you sort of a preview, is that attention and focus are finite and consumable resources. That means that we have a lot of behavior changes to wrestle with. Remember, buy a copy, link in the show notes, and links to this week's and all previous week's installments of this reread. In the Software Process and Measurement Cast number 805, we will feature our interview with Peter Schroeder. We discuss plane crashes, fatherhood, and the journey from a technologist to a business person. This is not a 2 truths and a lie exercise. If process improvement is a never-ending journey, why do so many people ask, are we there yet?